Hoc in utramque partem disputatione habita, cum a cata primisque ordinibus acriter resisterator. And yeah, we're going to stop before we get to the main part of the sentence because I want to cover these dependent clauses. Okay, we've got an ablative absolute here. Let's see. The noun in the ablative is here disputatione. Hoc, of course, modifies it, this debate. And then here's our perfect passive participle, habita. Inside our ablative absolute, prepositional phrase like that. Okay, so this thing happened. Oh, we've got cum. Wait, is this when, since, because, although, or with? Well, it can't be with because we've got a prepositional phrase after it. So this cum here is introducing a cum clause. Oh, of course, because there's the subjunctive verb too. So we haven't gotten to our main sentence yet, but we have two dependent clauses. Let's see, in our cum clause, you should note that the subject of resisterator is an understood it. This is being used impersonally. When it was being resisted, what is the it? The whole idea of leaving everything that happened in sentence 29, or chapter 29. Okay, so now we're going to continue. Notice Caesar here jumps into direct speech. He is actually putting words into the mouth of Sabinus. That's a little bit different than what we saw in the previous chapter with all of those indirect statements. Caesar is actually saying, hey, Sabinus said exactly this. Okay, so what does Sabinus say? Vincite. Si ita voltus. If that's what you really want, here's an imperative. You guys win if that's what you want. Sabinus said, and then notice id is also the direct object of inquit. And this thing, he said, with what? With this noun adjective pair. Okay. And his voice was clearer to such a degree that we've got an understood thing here that gives us a result clause. Here's the result. He said it was such a clear voice that ud magna pars militum exauderit. Okay, that's not so bad. We've got a subject here. Militum also modifies pars. Oopsies, let's fix that arrow. It goes like that. Okay, so he said it so loudly that lots of folks could hear. And then we continue what he said. Neque issum inquit, qui gravissime, ex vobis mortis periculo terriar. We will stop there so you can process it. Okay, and he's moving into the first person. I am not that guy. And then we've got a relative clause of characteristic. I'm not the sort of guy. We know it is characteristic because we've got a qui and a subjunctive verb there. And it doesn't make sense for it to be anything else, so I'm assuming it's a relative clause describing the sort of guy I am, or in this instance, am not. Okay, passive verb terriar. So this is an ablative periculo, which is describing the thing by which I would be afraid or not be afraid. And then prepositional phrase here. Mortis, of course. I am not the sort of guy who would be freaked out by the danger of death. And then gravissime is just a boring adverb. Okay, continuing his speech. He, sapient, these guys, i.e. the soldiers, notice the tense in sapient. These guys will know better. Si gravius quid accederet, obste rationem repascent. Ooh, look at this. Did you notice the future perfect thing going on? Again, sapient, future tense. Accederet, future perfect. And that's because, let's look at this timeline. If this is now, when I want to talk about something in the future, like item A, that is completed before something else in the future, like item B, item A has to be the future perfect tense, and item B has to be the future tense. So, if this thing will have happened, item A, in the future, then item B will happen. So, in this instance, we've got the C here. If something yucky will have happened in the future, then, that's the item A here, then these guys will do item B. These guys will know after something yucky happened. Notice this quid is really aliquid because after si, nisi, nom, and ne, all the ali's go away, so aliquid means anything. So if anything gravius, serious, or bad happens in the future, these guys will know. And what else will they do? Obste rationem repascent. Prepositional phrase here. This is just your direct object of this other future tense verb. Okay, so we will keep going. Qui si per te liceat, periendo die cum proximis hibernis conjuncti, communam cum reliquis belli causam susteniant, non rejecti et relegati longe ab cateris, aut fero aut fame interant. Oh, wow, this is even more fun. Okay, so first we've got a relative clause here. This whole thing is a ginormous relative clause. And with this relative clause, we have a nifty future less vivid construction. Are your minds blown yet? Future less vivid. First of all, let's take a quick review. A future less vivid has si, and then it has two present tense subjunctives. Look, liceat, and what's the other half of it? Susteniat. So a future less vivid is si plus present subjunctive, and then present subjunctive. And we always translate it should, would. So if this should happen, this thing would happen. And the reason it's less vivid is because you don't exactly know for sure if it's going to, so you use the subjunctive. So these guys who, i.e. the soldiers who, if it should be permitted through you, i.e. if Sabinus, or I'm sorry, Kata, and the other guys who want to stay, if they should allow everybody to leave, then what would happen? Well, before we get to what would happen, we have to figure out when it's going to happen. That's what this phrase is for, ablative of time when. And we have a prepositional phrase too, cum proximis hibernis. Okay, and then here's the subject, or this is nominative modifying the soldiers. The soldiers who, if you should allow it, or it should be allowed by you, the soldiers who, having been conjuncted, joined with their other winter quarters, with their buddies in the nearby winter's quarters, what would those nominatives do? They would sustain the direct object, which is communam causam, noun adjective pair, with whom? Oh, communam causam belli, the common problem, catastrophe, disaster of war, with everybody else, with the rest of them. So, and then he goes on, if you guys should allow it, this thing would happen. And then he gives us another thing that would happen, interant, another present subjunctive inside the future less vivid. So, Caesar's construction if A would happen, B would happen, and then he goes on, maybe even another C. So what is this other thing? And they would not, having been this rejecti et relegati prepositional phrase, left how far? Very far from their buddies. They would not die either by another ablative construction, by iron or famine. So that's the end of that.